I use them in crepes, I use them in soups, I use them in stir fries.
Dry it in big trays.
Love them with yeast and tamarind, a little bit of olive oil on them. They're just fabulous.
Throw them in your compost. You can make a composting tea.
Said to be very good for the prostate.
It's a well-known spring tonic. When you start eating them, you just feel better.
It's just lying there on the ground and everybody else is walking by it, and I've picked it up.
Oh, Nettles, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Nettles, hey, Nettles. Oh, Nettles, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Nettles, hey, Nettles. We boil water in our kettles, and we pour it onto the nettles. We have nettle tea.
I love them. My first introduction to them was after I gave birth to my child. This local woman had dried a whole bunch of nettles, and she came to my house, and she says, you know, right now your body is very low in iron, and this is the most potent source of iron that you can find in a diet. So here you go, sprinkle it on everything, and I did.
We're surrounded basically by food, but that very few of us recognize as food.
When I moved to Salt Spring Island, the nettles first appeared in my life in a wild thicket that I was trying to clear. And so it was a major discovery to find out, oh my God, at the end of the afternoon, how come my hands are so sore?
And first of all, you need to get people past their prejudice against nettle. My own daughters were always cautioning their kids, look out for the nettles, stinging nettles, as though they were next to something hazardous.
Well, it starts in those dark, short days of winter and long nights when I start anticipating the first feed of nettles, because they, once you've started to eat them, I find, at least, I never get any more colds.
After, you know, discovering nettle, and, you know, when you live out here, the supply is endless, and I found all kinds of wonderful little spots around the small property that I have that has nettle in them. Indeed, I have started transplanting some of the smaller nettle plants so that I can get a patch closer into the house.
Well, they're just full of vitamins. They're full of calcium, magnesium, and you can feel it. I can feel it, at least once I drink fresh nettles. But you don't have to have fresh nettles. You can cut them down, the plants down, and dry them, and use the dried powder all year long.
You know, even if you get stung, it doesn't spread. It goes away. It's not an injury. It's just a sensation on the skin, and you can live with that.
And in fact, you can use the nettle tea and dilute it and rinse your hair with it. Use it as a hair conditioner, and I find it makes my hair lovely and soft and tangle-free, and it's just, can't understand why anybody would ever go out and buy a hair conditioner.
Some people think that if you don't pick them when they're very young, you've had it, you have to wait for a year. But nettles are nutritious at every stage of their lifespan. When the leaves are big, the way I like to use them then is you just snip the leaves and put them in a bath of just a bit of vinegar, which takes the sting out, and then you use them for dolmades, and they make delicious dolmades then.
Hey, Nettles. Oh, Nettles, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Nettles.
We had been given the mandate to try to organize some community dinners that would include local harvests. Now in March and April, the only thing that's in season on Galliano is nettles. There is certainly a lot of passion and interest on this island with respect to nettles.
There are a whole schwack of people who've never eaten a nettle and who still view them as something that they fall into and herd, and the kids are shy of. So it was an interesting idea to bring together these experts who have been feasting on them for decades, really, and and then the group of people who have only been looking at them as their enemy and something to cut down and get rid of.
We had about 30 people who went out in the hail and snow, actually.
Snow.
It started, as soon as they set foot outside, it started hailing, so they gathered a ton of nettles, really, in about half an hour. It was amazing. They were very efficient. It moved on to the dinner part of the evening, and everyone was welcome to come. We had 76 people attended, which is essentially 10% of the island, which is a great turnout from where we stand.
Have you ever heard of Nesto? It's just like pesto, except it's made with nettles. Oh, nettles, you're so fine, you blow my mind.
In my research about nettles to eat, I also learned that the Scots thought that nettle cloth was more beautiful and more durable than flax linen. I thought that was pretty good. From historical reports, we know that Napoleon had his soldiers in nettle uniforms. Apparently, in Nepal, they've created quite an industry. They have 40,000 people working at collecting and the nettles and producing the nettle cloth. We don't want to import cotton with all the abuse of the environment and people that goes along with that. If we could make nettle cloth here, that would be fabulous. What's nice about it is I don't think it's a single-handed kind of job. It's the kind of a job that requires a community. And that's what we're building here, is community. A sense of working together.
Every action that we take contributes to the footprint on the planet. And since greenhouse gas emissions contribute to climate change in such a big way, many people I know ask themselves, what can I do? I really want to do something.
It's the one issue that connects us all as human beings. It cuts across every class, race, sex, age. It cuts across everything, and it's something we all share. And if I want to find the kernel of what we need right now, it's connection to each other.
We need to lighten the footprint on the planet. We need to live a more simple life. And the nettle is just a key part of that simplicity.
It's a local food, it's organic, it's untreated, and it doesn't take tons of petroleum to bring it to us. They're a wonderful food, and they're locally sourced, so you know, who could ask for more? They're a solution.
But making that next step and looking at every item in your fridge and your cupboard and saying, wow, how far did this travel? That's a big step. Even for us who are really passionate about it, I can see that I'd have a hard time letting go of coffee.
I can go on about nettles for hours, that's for sure.
I put nettles in my bread. I just can't get them out of my head, but I don't want to. Do you? Hell no.
Introducing the newest breakthrough in home hair care. No, not Nettle Solution. Why spend endless dollars on brand name conditioners found in stores? No, not Nettle Solution can be found conveniently right in your very own backyard. No, not Nettle Solution replenishes your dry, coarse hair, leaving you with the soft, shiny curls you desire without the burden of knots and tangles. Simply add your freshly picked nettle crowns found growing wild locally in your backyard to boiling water for just a few seconds. Drain and dilute, and presto! Cost-free, no, not Nettle Solution, ready and waiting to enhance your natural beauty. So throw away those expensive plastic bottles cluttering your bathroom and try No, not Nettle Solution today. Satisfaction guaranteed and money back. Take caution while picking nettle leaf. Rash may occur from stinging nettles. Immediate sexiness is a common side effect.